Welcome, enjoy, and put your hands together for 4 women in time. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go down. Moses, way down in Egypt's land, tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. My name is Harriet Tubman, and I was a part of the Underground Railroad, and I was the conductor of the Underground Railroad, where a group of Negro folk and a group of white folk, they came together to help the slaves get all the way from the eastern shores of Maryland, 636 miles, day after day, night after night, to Canada, to freedom. I want to tell you about a story. When I was just 13 years old, I went with Massa's wife in town to help her with the shopping. And all of a sudden in the store, a slave ran by, and then a white man ran behind him and he threw a brick. And he missed. Well, it hit me in my head. They tell me I passed out and didn't come to for about a week later. And that is when I began to have blackouts. And they would just happen when they would happen. I could be eating dinner with my family, or I could be out in the field and just black out. But I want you to know something. I did not have one blackout when I was running, conducting the Underground Railroad. Now it's time to get the slaves to freedom. See, I would wait until slave catcher was sleeping right at sundown. That way, the slaves, they could get a head start, and the Underground Railroad could get going, so they wouldn't know we was gone until the morning. I sent them a signal. Cuckoo! Cuckoo! And that's when they knew to meet me at the train station was way out in the woods with this big tree. See, I would pray and ask God before every journey. I would say, Lord, do I make this journey? And God would say, yes, Harriet, and I'll be with you every step of the way. Well, I would stand back and I would watch as they would gather. But one day I looked over and this woman was with them, y'all. Now, it wasn't because she was a woman, but she had a newborn baby laid on her chest, wrapped, cloth around it and around her body. Oh, I was like, slave catcher gonna get us for sure. But then I remember what God said to me. He said, I'll be with you every step of the way. I had 3 rules while traveling on this here train. The first rule was there is to be no talking. The second one was you are to do what I tell you when I tell you to do it. And number 3, there's to be no turning back. Well, y'all, we had to get our journey started. Oh, we got to go. And we got to walking that night. We went a while too. And we walked. And we walked and looked like sun about to come up. But right before then we came to a big white house. I told them to wait. Now this was a Quaker house. Now see, the Quakers, they was the white folk that didn't believe in slavery. And they kept little hiding places in their houses for us so we wouldn't get caught by a slave catcher. Went to the door. I knocked on it. A big white man came to the door. He said, "Yes, may I help you?" I said, "I'm the conductor." He said, "Well, get your folk and meet me round back." We went on back there. He brought us 2 big buckets of water, a sack of apples, and some biscuits his wife made. Woo! We ate a while. And then he said, "Harry, I need to speak to you." "What you need?" He said, "Come on over here." Okay. I went over there. He said, "Harry, there's a bounty on your head." I said, "There's always a bounty on my head." He said, "Harry, this bounty is worth $40,000. I said, "Lord, they trying to catch them some Harry. Now, if that was today, that'd be about $1 million. But I had to remember again what God said to me. I'll be with you every step of the way. Well, he took us on in the house, and in his front room, he had a big rug. And under that rug, after he moved it, there was a door leading to a hiding place. He told us to wait down there and get some rest, and he'll wake us up when it's time. Well, we all went down, and he got us up. We went on back to the back of the house. He gave us a sack of apples and said, "God bless you as you continue your journey to freedom." Well, we was off again, y'all. And we got to go. And we got to walking. Now, we finished up them apples, so we had to eat whatever we could find. Some squirrels, some fish, whatever, berries. But then we was walking one night, right before the sun went down, and I said, "Well, what is that out here?" And I told him to wait. I looked through the bushes, and I saw some wagons. They was all on the road, and it was some slaves walking right behind them. And this one slave woman, she had a baby on her back, and she was holding 2 little babies' hands, and they was walking. And then we both saw each other. She looked at me, and I looked at her. We both said, "Shh." I went on back to the group. I always wondered who she was. Well, y'all, we got to walking a little more. A few more days went by. We came to another Quaker house. They fed us, gave us a place to rest and hide. And then we was off again for our journey. That night, I heard some dogs barking. I said, "Oh, Lord, slave catcher done caught up with us." God said, "Harriet, move forward." I walked up a little bit. "Harriet, move forward." I walked a little more. It was a swamp. Now, I ain't never seen that there swamp before. Now, I done made many trips back and forth, and I ain't seen this here swamp. But God said, "Keep walking." Oh, y'all, we all kept walking in the swamp, and the water got higher and higher, and it got to be about right here. Thank God for the marsh, the grass that grow on top of the swamp. We stood right there. Here they come. "Yeah! Where you at, Harry? We gonna get ya! We gonna get you! We gonna hang ya! Where you at, Harry?" Oh, we stayed there, y'all, till morning. Slave catcher gone. Dogs gone. Yeah, we was wet, but we ain't caught. We ended up at another Quaker house. Now this time when they got us up, they took us round back, and there was 2 Quaker men waiting on us. They said, "Now this what y'all gonna do. You're gonna get in these here wagons. We gonna cover you with boards and put stacks of hay on top of that. Ain't nobody ever gonna know y'all was even there." We got on in the wagons. Oh, we got to go. I felt like we was going all day long. Woo! And finally, we stopped. They helped us all on out. And God bless you as you continue your journey to freedom. Now, we didn't have much longer to go. I told everybody, "Let's go." We didn't walk that long. Not even an hour went by. And finally, I slowed down. And I stopped. I said, Y'all know where y'all is? They was like, mm-mm. I said, we in Canada. Y'all's free. Wow! Wow! Oh, they danced and they had a good time rejoicing and thanking God for their freedom.
Yeah.
And then I looked over y'all and I saw that mama. I walked up to her and I kissed her sweet baby boy. I want y'all to know something. That baby never made a sound once through that entire journey. She took her baby and she said, God, thank you, God, that my baby's free. He don't have to live that life as a slave. Thank you, God. That's why I did what I did.
Yeah.
That's why I help folk get to freedom. You know, I wouldn't have been able to make none of those trips if I didn't take care of my spirit, my mind, and my body. Now my spirit would rejoice and be happy and thankful to God for every trip we made. And then there was my mind. You got to keep your mind right. You got to think on positive things and good thoughts.
Yeah.
Don't let nobody bring you negative stuff because it'll mess you up every time. Because if I went by that, I wouldn't have made some of those trips. But I had to trust and believe God. Oh, then there was my body. Now I had to stay in shape. You can't make them trips back and forth 636 miles walking if you ain't in shape. But I got a little secret for you. See, back in the 1800s, there wasn't no such thing as Planet Fitness. No, Lord. Shoot. I had to walk my town in circles every day for hours. I just walked and walked and walked. And then right back yonder was some hills. I would climb them too. I think y'all call that hiking today. Oh yeah, get myself strong and in shape. Thank God. Before I go, I want to ask you all something. Now see, I was born a slave, but all y'all in this here room was born free. Now what are you, or even you over there, doing with your freedom? That'll give you something to think about. Well, I'll see y'all another time. Hello, Pharaoh, let my people go.
If we know ourselves, we're always home, anywhere. If you believe within your heart, you'll know that no one can change the path that you must go. What you feel and know you're right, because the time will come around when you'll say it's yours. Believe that you can go home. You can float on air. Yes, click your heels 3 times if you believe. Oh, then you'll be there. That's why I want you to believe in yourself. Yes, right from the start.
bet you don't even know who I am. They call me Biddy for short, but my name is Bridget Mason. I was born around 1818, and I lived on a plantation in South Carolina. But they tell me that I was sold to another plantation over in another state when I was just a baby. When I was on that plantation, I used to have so much fun. My job was to keep the house clean. Oh, and I would play with Sissy. Now see, Sissy, she was wide, and she was aged just like me. And Miss Mary was her mama, and Mr. Vernon was her papa. And they taught Sissy that slaves was dumb and stupid, just like the animals in the barn, and that she could beat us if we misbehaved. Well, it was also Miss Mary. See, Miss Mary, she was the head cook in the kitchen, and Mama Ruth was in there too. One day, Miss Mary, she told Mama Ruth to bake two sweet potato pies, 'cause Preacher and his family was coming over for dinner, and she did too. She took them out the oven, and she went to the back porch, and she put them on the ledge to cool off. I was sweeping the porch, and then Sissy, she came in and she said, "Ooh, Biddy, those pies smell good. We should eat them." I said, I thought she was making a funny. And then she snatched the pies and ran out the yard. So I ran behind her, calling me, "Come on, Biddy, come on." We ran into the barn. She said, "Biddy, eat the pie, Biddy." I said, I didn't want to eat the pie because I didn't want to get in trouble with Miss Mary. She said, "Eat the pie, Biddy, or I will beat you, I will beat you, I will beat you." Well, I was sad because Sissy ain't never talked to me like that before. Then we both ate the pies. And she said, "Ooh, you gonna get it, because you ate my mama's pies." And she ran out the barn. I was getting scared because I was gonna get in trouble. And then I heard Miss Mary, "Biddy, Biddy, you ate my pies, Biddy, you ate my pies." And she ran into the barn and she snatched me and she dragged me across the yard. Then she threw me over the overseer and she said to tie her to the tree. And he ripped off all my clothes. And then he took my arms and he tied them to the tree. And I could barely move. And then Miss Mary, she told Sissy to beat me. Sissy came up to me and she said, "I hate you, Biddy. You was dark and you was ugly." And she spit on me. And then she took some scissors out her boot and she cut my hair. And I could see my hair falling on my arms. And she kept cutting. And then she said, "Mama Ruth, bring me the molasses syrup you cook with and that flour you bake with." And she brought it to her. And then she poured it all on me. And then she dumped the flour on my head. And then she said, "I wonder what you would look like if you was wide." And then they all started laughing at me. And they kept laughing. And they kept laughing at me. And the preacher came. And she told him, "She ate y'all dessert." Then they came over. Everybody in them was laughing. And they kept laughing at me. And then they stopped. They went in the house. But then, overseer went to me. I woke up the next morning still naked and tied to the tree. I looked up and I said, "God, I know you have a better life for me than this. I know that someday, somehow, I will be free." And then he untied me. He threw me in the back of the wagon, took me to town, and sold me to Mr. Smith. And he took me to his plantation. I never saw Sissy again. It's been 17 years now, y'all, since I've lived on the Smith plantation. And I ain't been hit or beat one time. My hair grew back. I had 3 babies. They all got the same papa. Now that would be Mr. Smith, the man of the house. Now, I was valuable to Mr. Smith because I could do everything. His wife, she was always sick, but she kept having babies. So I had to take care of all 13 of the Smith children and mine. I cooked, I cleaned, I was a midwife, I delivered all the babies on the plantation. But best of all, I learned the skill of herbal medicine. After about a year went by, Mr. Smith, he decided that he wanted to join the Mormon church in the migration of Utah. So we packed up the plantation and joined the caravan. Now, Mr. Smith and his family, they rode in wagons with all the other white folk. But us slaves, we had to walk behind them. I walked over 2,000 miles with my baby Sarah strapped to my back. And I had to hold my 2 girls' hands as we walked. One day, just before sundown, I saw a lady over in the bushes. She looked at me and I looked at her and we both said, shh. I turned my head, but when I looked back, she was gone. I wonder who she was. But it was a long, hard journey. Most nights and days my feet would be bleeding and I would be tired and weak. And they would only feed us slaves once a day. Every night, before I went to bed, I would pray to the Lord and say, God, I know you got a better life for me and my girls. I believe that one day somehow we will be free. Oh, we walked through Nebraska, Wyoming, Iowa, and finally ended up in Salt Lake City. Mr. Smith again, about another year went by, and he decided he didn't believe in the teachers of the Mormon church, and he was going to join a group of folks that was going to the new state of California. We landed and ended up and settled in San Bernardino. I had a lot of friends. I started making friends with Negro folk, and they would tell me that slavery was illegal in California. So I went to Mr. Smith and told him what I heard. He said, you and your children will always be my property. Ooh, I was angry and I was mad. I will be free. And somehow the local sheriff got wind of the fact that Mr. Smith will not give us our freedom. So they came to the house and they arrested all the slaves and they took us to jail way in Los Angeles. They said it was for our protection because Mr. Smith, he was being sued for having slaves. Well, while I was in jail, I received the help I needed to petition the court for my children and all the other slaves to get our freedom. It took that judge 3 days to grant our request. They let us out of jail and they handed us our freedom papers. I was free, y'all. I was free. I said I would never give up on my dream of being free. I was so happy and I thank God for my freedom. Oh, me and my girls, we moved into an apartment. It was downtown Los Angeles. I started a midwifing business. Shoot, after about 6 months, folks was coming to see me from all over the state. I was a doctor's assistant. I also sold my herbal remedies. Anything wrong with you? You come see me. I'll whip you up so quick, you take that, you'll be just fine. And that's why I always carry my special bag. So I kept special stuff. Always with me. No matter what. My freedom papers. I'm going to keep my freedom papers. You ain't going to ever make me a slave again. And my remedies. Because you just might need to buy some. You want to get some right now? Yeah. You know, one time, when we were still living in Utah, a man came to the house, and he tried to talk Mr. Smith into purchasing some property, because he told him it would make him sure enough rich. But Mr. Smith said no, because we was going to California the next day. It never left me. It would make him rich if he buy some property. I had saved a lot of money, y'all. I was 48 years old, and even though I couldn't read or write, I was going to get me some property. So I did. I bought my first lot for $200 over on Spring Street between 3rd and 4th. A year later, I sold that same lot for $1,500. I was flipping back then, y'all. Just a few years went by. I owned property all over Los Angeles. I was the richest, free, black woman in California. And it felt good. Well, I want y'all to do something for me before I get to that. They call me a philanthropist. I would give food and shelter to folks of all races. I visited the prison inmates. I gave them medical care and took them gifts. I was the co-founder with my son-in-law of the first African Methodist Episcopal Church. And it's still standing strong today. Sure enough. But what I wanted y'all to know was, if you believe in yourself, can't nothing stop you. Can't nothing stop you from reaching your goals and your dreams. When I went on to be with the Lord, I left my fortune to my daughters and my grandchildren. Now, what's what I want y'all to do for me? When you finish up here, I want you to go down to 333 South Spring Street. And there you will find the Biddy Mason Memorial Park. And it is nice. Now, you can't just drive by right quick, and you got to get out the car and walk in between a few buildings, and then you find it. Uber, bus, train, whatever you got to do to get down there, but it's there. It was sponsored by Mayor Tom Bradley. Well, I don't know what y'all about to do. You finish up here, I'm going down there to 3rd now. I will be there. So when you finish here, come on down and see me. I'll see y'all later.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. Fireflies are having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace when day is done, that's what I mean. And this old world is a new world and a bold world for me. Yeah, yeah. Stars, when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me.
Being brought from Africa to America, 'twas mercy brought me from my pagan land, taught my benighted soul to understand that there is a God, a Savior too. Once I reunite, neither sought nor knew. Some view our race with sable eye, they say their skin is a diabolic dye. So listen, Negroes, Christians, black as Cain, soon we'll all join that angelic train. Oh, I didn't see you sitting there. My servant didn't speak of you being here. Thank you for accepting my invitation. I'm so glad you came to join me in my home this evening. I was just writing that poem. Just the other day, I observed a Negro woman had fallen into the street. A white woman went up to her and would not extend her hand because she thought if she touched her Negro skin that she would turn into a Negro. It's so unfortunate that people think in such a way. Where are my manners? I invited you here to share with you my story. I was the first Negro to publish a book of poetry. Yes. I remember back when I was just a little girl and I lived with my parents in Africa. I lived with my family, my father and my twin sister. One night, I was captured by enslavers. They came into our house in the middle of the night. They took me out of my bed as I was awakening from a deep slumber. They put a dark sack over my head and dragged me through the darkness. I didn't know if my family were dead or alive. They got me to the shore. They took the sack off my head and then they forced me into a boat with 8 others. It took us to a ship that was further out in the ocean. When I stepped on that ship, they put shackles on my neck and shackles on my wrists and shackles on my ankles. I was completely terrified. Why were we there? They put me in what felt like a pit in the bottom of the ship. They put me on a shelf and I could hardly breathe. They stuffed me in between 2 people and all I could hear was moans and groans and screams. Where were they taking us? Where were we going? Why was I there? We had been on that ship now for many weeks. One day I put my hand on the woman next to me and it was hard and cold. I looked at her and her eyes were wide open as she stared into nothingness. She lived no more. My heart had already been broken, but now was shattered into many pieces. They would take us out on deck once or twice a week. I would stare into the sun to feel the warm sensation of God's love. That is what kept this 7-year-old girl alive. They would feed us cornmeal and salted fish. Many did not survive. They were thrown into the sea. Most suffered from outright despair. The day approached, and all could see land. How my heart moved about with undelighted rest as the wicked man came up and he removed my shackles and said, "Welcome to Boston." When I first stepped off that ship, there was a white man and a white woman standing there, and the man pointed to me and said, "We would like to purchase that one, and we shall call her Phyllis, like the name of the ship. You shall be called Phyllis Wheatley." The Wheatleys took me to their home. We were greeted by a slave man named Mr. Portraying. He looked at me and smiled. Mrs. Wheatley took me upstairs to her room, and she said, "Phyllis, this shall be your room. This is your bed, and these are your clothes. The evening is upon us. We must go downstairs to dine." She introduced me to her children, Nathan, 16, and Mary, 15. I remember eating just a small amount. Mary helped me with the bath. Before my slumber, Mary looked into my room and said, "Phyllis, you are like the younger sister we never had." Indeed I was. Indeed. Time had passed, and I began to write poetry. Yes, and now I'm 14 years old, and Mrs. Wheatley is taking me to Mrs. Ainsworth for afternoon tea. I will not be sipping tea or eating biscuits. I'm merely a showpiece. I will be reciting British literature, particularly Alexander Pope. The Wheatleys educated me. They taught me to read and write. I studied the Bible, in astronomy, geography, mathematics, history, the Greek and Latin classics, and Mrs. Wheatley's favorite, British literature. Mr. and Mrs. Wheatley were from Great Britain. They traveled in Britain and settled all the way in Boston. They arrived with great wealth. At that time, they purchased a plantation and slaves. Remember the slave man I told you about, Mr. Portraying? He too was educated and lived in the house. There's something of great importance I want to share with you about the slaves. I didn't see them much, and when I did, they didn't seem to care for myself or Mr. Portraying. They lived in slave cabins on the land. There was one slave. Her name was Rose. She was the head maid in the house. Any time that I was alone in the study, she would come in there and say, "Yeah, you think because you can read and write, that's going to make the white people love you? They don't love you. You do something wrong, God, they sell you so quick. You ain't nothing, and they sure don't love you." The love I felt from the Wheatleys was the same love I felt from my parents and my family in Africa. On virtue. O thou bright jewel, in thy aim I strive to comprehend thee. Thine own words declare, wisdom is higher than a fool can reach. I cease to wonder and no more attempt, but thine heart, or phantom thy profound. Well, virtue is near thee, and with gentle hand. No one would publish my poetry in America. My talents brought me great social success. So my brother Nathan, who indeed treated me like a sister, took me to London, and it was sponsored by the Countess of Huntingdon. London. That is where I published my first book of poetry. But while in London, Nathan and I received a letter from Mr. Wheatley informing us that Mrs. Wheatley was ill and that she wanted to see all 3 of her children before she passed away. It was a sad journey home to Boston. I got a chance to see Mrs. Wheatley, Mama, Papa, Nathan, Mary, and myself. We all placed our hands on Mama. She took her final breath, and she went to her resting place. She lived no more. I will miss Mama. I will miss Mama. I loved Mama. I loved Mama. Time had passed. Papa, he granted me my freedom. I met and married a free man named John Peters. I would travel back and forth from London to England, from London to England, publishing books of poetry. King's most excellent majesty, your subjects dread, dear sire, that the crown upon your brows live long, and that in God may your arm be strong. And all of us here today, may the love we have live long. Remember, always believe in yourself, and you too shall reach your dreams. I'm so glad you came to visit me this evening. We shall meet again soon. My servants shall show you all out. Good night.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up till I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. Hey! 'Cause all my life you have been faithful. Oh, yes, you have. And all my life you have
One of my favorite quotes was, I'd rather play a maid than be one. I was born in Wichita, Kansas. I was the youngest of 13 children. When I was about 6 years old, my family moved to South Dakota. And then, that's when I went to 24th Street Elementary School and discovered I had a love for singing. And I sang in every school play until I got out of high school. Then I went on the road. I traveled with the Mighty Minstrels and I traveled with different folks. So I went with the Mighty Minstrels and I traveled with the George Morrison's Orchestra. Then the tour was over. So I got a job as a cleaning lady, because you know what? I had to eat. I got a job working at the Sam Pick Suburban Inn. The Sam, he was a good singer known all over town. And everybody would come to his nightclub to hear them some good singing. And I told Sam I was a singer. And he said, I hired you to clean. See, Sam's problem was he had all these singers, and a lot of times they wouldn't even show up. So he had to go out there and sing. So one night when I was done cleaning, the band was still hanging around. I said, hey boys, can y'all come over to my house tomorrow and teach me all the songs? That way, when the singer don't show up, I can sing, and I'ma always show up. I promise I'll cook y'all some good dinner. Oh, they came over, all right. Woo, we practiced for about 3-4 hours. And then we ate. I fried some chicken. I made some macaroni and cheese. I cooked some greens. I made some yams, some potato salad, and I baked a chocolate cake. And it was all good. So, a few weeks later, I wasn't surprised. The singer did not show up, y'all. I hurried up. I ran out on that stage. I said, hit it, boys. 10 cents a day. That's what they pay me. Gosh, how they weigh me down. 10 cents a day. Tough guys and rough guys, they throw me to the ground. 7 to midnight I hear drums. Loudly the saxophone blows. Those trumpets are tearing my eardrums. Customers crush my toes. Sometimes I think I found my hero, but it's a strange romance. All that you need is a ticket. Come on, big boy. 10 cents a dance. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Y'all, I sang at that club 6 nights a week for the next 2 years. My brother John and my sister Irene, they lived in Hollywood. And sometimes they get cast in little movie roles here and there. So I decided I was going to move to Hollywood and that I wanted to be a big star. So I went. Now my brother, he invited me to be on his radio show called The Optimistic Do-Nuts. Shoot, those people love me so much they start calling me Hi-Hat-Hattie. And I had a good old time. And then I started going on auditions and I got cast as slave and maids. That's about all they was casting for black folk. And then the time came. I had to get a job as a cleaning lady. Because when the work ain't coming, Hollywood ain't easy now. You got to still eat. Well, 1939, I got the audition of a lifetime. I was cast in the film, gone with the wind, playing a slave named Amy. This film was nominated by the Academy of Motion Pictures with 12 other nominations. I, Hattie McDaniel, was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. But the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, they didn't like the fact that I kept playing roles as maids and slaves. Well, I tell you what, I'd rather pretend and play like I'm a maid and get paid $700 a week than work hard as a dog only making $7 a week. Now you do the math. I lived in a time where racism and segregation was strong. The movie premiere was held in Atlanta, Georgia, at a whites-only theater, and I could not attend. So now we get to Hollywood in 1940, and it's time for the Academy Awards. But they tell me that I can't come because of the color of my skin. But what they didn't know was I had white friends all in Hollywood. Friends like friends like Shirley Temple, Clark Gable, and a whole lot more. And you know what they did? They told that Academy, if I cannot attend, they will boycott and not show up on Oscar night. They changed their mind. They told me I could attend, but I had to sit at a little table by myself. Could not sit with the cast. But it didn't matter to me. Way in the back, because I was in the room. I sat there and I heard actress Faye Bainter say, I would like to present the Academy Award for an actress in a role, supporting role, in 1939 to Hattie McDaniel. Y'all, I stood up proud and I took my time walking to that podium. She handed me that Oscar and I said, I would like to thank the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Science, members of the motion picture industry, and honored guests. This has been one of the happiest days of my life. I want to thank each and every one of you who had a part in selecting me to receive one of your awards and your kindness. I sincerely hope to be a credit to my race and to the motion picture industry. My heart is just too full to share with you just how I feel. Thank you, and God bless you. Y'all, I tell you, I was living a good life. I was the first African American to get that award. I went on and published a few songs I wrote. And then I was on a national radio show called Showboat. I was the first African American to get my own television show. And it was called Beulah. Guess who Beulah was? The maid. Y'all, and I made some good money. And I laughed all the way to the bank. I did well for myself. I lived right over there off of West Adams and Western in a 17-room house. See, what a lot of folks didn't know, one of my best friends was Clark Gable. He was a white actor known all over the world. He would come over every Sunday when he was in town to eat breakfast. because he loved my cooking. He would come in, throw off his hat and his coat, throw him on the couch, come in the kitchen, pull out my chair. Miss Hattie. He would make my plate. Y'all, I cooked the food. We would laugh and talk for hours. Oh, you know, my life was ended shorter than some due to illness. But I reached my dream. I believed in myself because of the goodness of God. His mercies run after me. Thank y'all for taking the time out of your day just to let me share with you my story. Repeat after me. If I believe in myself, nothing can stop me. And I feel good. Y'all should go into acting. I love y'all, and I did it. I did it. God bless you all. I did it. Praise God.
And now, introducing the cast of 4 Women in Time. Our featured dancer, Lime, also known as Marshana Brown. Portraying Harriet Tubman, Biddy Mason, Phyllis Wheatley, and Hattie McDaniel, Juanicia Hoskins. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please allow us at this final show for this season to introduce some very important people behind the scenes. When I call your name, please take the front. Our executive producer, Lori Milton. Producer, Juanicia Hoskins. Written and directed by Juanicia Hoskins. Assistant stage manager, Yolanda Swan. Stagehand, Annie Richardson. Costume designer, Geralynthia Banks Stash. Tech support, Glenn Glass, Glass House Productions. Graphic design and promotion, Good Steward Media Plus. Videographer, Crystal Glass, Crystal House Productions Media. And if I have not called your name and you're working behind the scenes, please come to the front. As I make my way to the front, Stephen Brown on sound. And I am your director and assistant stage manager, Crystal Nix.
Hey! Thank you all for coming out. This was my dream, and I am living my dream. So I want to thank all of you up here. Thank you, because without you, I couldn't have done this. I want to introduce my family. My mother, Karen Person. Please come up. My dad actually was here the last 2 days. He was working the parking lot. That's what he wanted to do to help me. But I think the sun was a little too much, and today he could not make it. My family, this is my sister Wendy. Steve is her husband. That's my brother-in-law. Oh, is York in the house, my brother? Oh, guess not. My brother, he was here last 2 shows. Thank you to my sister Laurie. We all know what an executive producer does. So without her, I really wouldn't have been able to put this on. So thank you so much. I give God praise for Crystal Nix, who came in when I realized I needed help.
Crystal, she came in and we rehearsed in my living room every night after I got a nap because I work at 5 in the morning. I had to come home and rest. And then we had rehearsals. Thank you. Geraldine Sue Banks. Or it's not really Sue. Thank you. We've known each other forever, and she is it Geraldine Fashions? Or yes, costumer. Thank you, Annie and Yolanda, for running everything behind the scenes. Annie was a volunteer. She goes to Crystal's church, and she just asked to help, so thank you. Stephen Brown is the sound. Glenn Glass is the lights. Yolanda, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a lot for people to volunteer and help you and get off work. And
I didn't volunteer.
okay, she was volunteering, but I thank God that I have friends like that. I've known this girl, this lady, but I had never seen her dance until January. I went to a women's conference in Vegas, and I told her I was going, and she came to the conference to support me. You don't get people who travel like that. And since she was there, she danced.
Wow.
And when I saw her dance and share her testimony of how she was hit by a car at a young age, and they told her she could not dance anymore. And she trusted and believed God. And he healed her body. And God told her, if you dance for me. And I'm sitting there in my seat, and I was like, she has to be in my show, God. I know that's who you want me to ask to dance in my show. So I love you and thank you. Oh, my pleasure. Again, I want to say I give God praise for my pastor of this sanctuary, Pastor Calvin Bernard Rome. He might have stepped out. Hope of Glory Christian Center, that you guys, this is my family. And thank you all for basically joining me in my house, because this is my home. The door. Oh, there's some people outside. Karen's out there too? Karen, are you here? Cheryl? Okay, so I need you to come to the front. All of you. The babies are asleep on their laps. I guess they were not. These are also greeters from my church, but they're my friends. We're a family. We're a village. So thank you. My husband, Larry Hoskins. Can you bring up the house lights? My husband is back here in the back, y'all. Raise your hand, Larry. My #1 supporter. My beautiful daughter, Jade.
Come to the front, I got a few words.
I'm sorry. This is my daughter, Jade. My other daughter lives in New York, but I talk to her almost every day. If she could have been here, she would have been here. Here's Jade, my daughter.
Okay, hey y'all. Okay, so she didn't mention my name, but I was her emotional support. No, y'all gotta hear this, I'm 16, right? So I don't know if y'all got 16-year-olds or whatever, if y'all ever had kids, but you know 16-year-olds like, and she's over here, she's doing all this work, coming home to rehearsal, she's always on 10, she's just like, so don't mix. So I would have to give her massages, I would tell her, Mom, take a break, just take a minute, like, she just trying to do too much at once, so I would have to make her tea, tell her to take a break, make her food, I just did a lot for her, so I was her emotional support, so
Kevin, come on up. Kevin. Kevin and I met many years ago at Compton College. I think we were both smaller. Come on over. He worked at the warehouse in the Carson Mall. And I would see him. We have just, you have those friends that you will have all your life. Kevin had a lot to do with all my shows being sold out. He poured his heart out to people. He was a huge support, and I appreciate you for for that, and always being my friend, no matter how much time goes by. Because we have times when we don't see each other. We all have those friends, and we're always the same. I love you and thank you. Okay. Thank you. Everybody, thank you. I apologize. I hope I didn't leave nobody out. I do have more family here. They're all sitting there. Cousin Brian, who's really my brother. Dante, thank you for being here. My sister's other. And my nephew here, Jackson. Thank you. I don't see if I see any more family members. Oh, I'm sorry. Where is she? Alexis, oh, my niece. I love you. Thank you. I love you all. I could say so many names, Naomi and on. But thank you guys for, hi, everybody's waving. Hi, thank you so much. Crystal, you go. Okay, thank you everyone. You will hear more information when we produce the show again.
The show was really, really excellent. The acting was superb. The storytelling was flawless. It was enthralling. It was captivating. She did an awesome job.
I enjoyed the show. I was so glad to see the actress. I know her personally. She did an excellent job in all the roles, multi-talented. I enjoyed the dancing. I enjoyed the whole thing. Thank you very much.
I love the shows. I love you, Juanicia.
It was excellent. She did such a fantastic job. I got a little piece of it a couple months ago when she did something here.
Yeah.
He's not,
So
but like I said, he's not really doing it to the extent that
She should be on Broadway.
Oh, it was just awesome, wonderful. Juanicia, she just went overboard. Just great.
Oh, it was wonderful. I recommend it to everyone. She really brought out the characters, intertwined them together, and it was so professionally done. It was beautiful. It was, I mean, I was like, wow, I need to go and tell a whole bunch of people to come and get educated, because it was awesome.
Very informative, very educational, very moving, very touching. It was like I was there. So the dialects were so unique. They were all different. The dancing was so coordinated with the subject and the people. It was amazing. I would personally give her 5 stars, 10 stars, and a trophy. It was that good.
Gee, the show was absolutely excellent. You have to come see it. It was captivating. That's all I can say. It was captivating. You have to come. God bless you, Juanicia. I'm so proud of you. I love you. And keep doing what God has called you to do.
So beautiful. You did it.
The show was tremendous. I'm so happy that I said yes. And it's just a wonderful reminder of, from whence we've come. So cheers to her. Many more shows, much more success. And just thank you for telling our story.
The fans are yours to take
I was
with
glad
you.
to finally get to see Juanicia do a show. I've heard about her acting for a long time from our mutual friend Kevin, and I tremendously enjoyed myself.
So how did you guys enjoy the show?
Good.
You liked it? Who was your favorite character?
Did you learn something? Oh. What did you guys learn? High five. That was the answer.
And Juanicia is your mom, so how did you guys?
She's my mom. I thought she did amazing. She did so great. I always saw her rehearsing, but I didn't think it was gonna be that good. Like it was really good. You know what I learned? I learned to believe in yourself.
I thoroughly enjoyed this show. My goodness, I laughed, I almost cried, but I was tough. But this was magnificent. A wonderful history lesson and a story, or rather a collection of stories of resilience. And dare I say, the Black Girl Magic. Shout out to Juanicia and to Marshana. They killed it, and I recommend that everybody come and check this out. So be on the lookout.
It was wonderful. I enjoyed it immensely.
All right.
Yes, it was very well done. Enjoyed it very much. Very well done.
All right. Thanks. Would you like to say how you enjoyed the show?
Incredible show. Awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
How did you enjoy the show?
The show was absolutely fantastic.
I loved it. It was very, very inspiring, uplifting, and it was good to my soul.
Enjoyed it immensely. Very well. Well done. Well worth it.